What's up, Laker Nation? You're watching the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham. And on today's show, interesting show topic. We're going to take a look at some potential trade targets from some teams that could enter a fire sale. Article out there on the internet about some teams that could sell heavy, and maybe the Lakers could pick up some of those scraps. So we're going to dive into that here on today's video. But I want you guys to chime in first. What is the Lakers' biggest need right now? Position-wise, maybe it's something else in particular. Maybe you need a big, maybe you need a wing. What do you guys think biggest need for the Lakers at this point in time? Okay, Jovan Buha of The Athletic put this out there saying they're still evaluating their needs and will continue to monitor the league, including potential fire sales in Toronto, Washington, Utah, Brooklyn, and or Charlotte that can make useful rotation players available. I'll also add Chicago. We're not talking about the Bulls today, but I think there's some pieces there that could become available very, very soon. We've, of course, talked about Zach LaVine quite a bit on this channel. So you look at some potential trade partners, the Raptors, Jazz, Nets, and Hornets. There are some good players on these teams that could absolutely help the Lakers, both on a high-end standpoint and just from a depth rotation standpoint. So keep that in mind. Let's start with Toronto here. They're always developing talent. They're currently 11th in the East, so they're kind of on the border of they try to make a play-in tournament, playoff type of push. Probably not. You're not going to contend at a high level with this roster right now. They've got OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Gary Trent, some pieces that they could opt to move. Anunoby and Siakam have been connected to trade rumors for years now, it seems like, especially Anunoby recently, who's one of the better 3-and-D players in the league. Siakam is consistently a 20-point scorer who defends very well, doesn't shoot from the perimeter very well, but he can score in a multitude of other ways. I think both these guys would be excellent number threes next to LeBron and Anthony Davis, and it definitely elevates the ceiling for this basketball team, how far they could go. Because I think currently constructed, this is obviously a playoff team, a team that could probably make the conference finals again, but that's probably about where they would tap out. I don't see them beating a fully healthy Denver, and there's a lot of other competitive teams too. Like if the Clippers stay healthy, they've been playing better recently. We know what Golden State's capable of, so I do think LA is going to have to add a piece or two if they want to elevate their ceiling, and Anunoby and Siakam would certainly do just that. Now pick one you would rather trade for if you are Los Angeles. Type A for OG Anunoby, S for Siakam. I might go Anunoby because of his three-point prowess and just the ability to play some different roles. Siakam, for him to be an effective scorer, you have to kind of play through him. And with LeBron and AD already on this basketball team, it's going to be a little tougher. So I think I would go with Anunoby, but let me know what you guys think. Definitely something you should do is get going with our partner PrizePicks. We appreciate them sponsoring today's show, the best daily fantasy sports game that exists. And the reason that is because they have simplified daily fantasy. A lot of these different apps, they do all kinds of numerical, complicated things. Not PrizePicks. It's just you guess if they're going to go with more or less than their stat projections. 2 to 6 player entries. It could be just within the NBA. You can cross over sports. Nothing complicated about it. We've got a 3-player entry here on this show. Kevin Durant, give me the more on his points in this one. Same with LeBron. I think both of them are going to go off, going mano-a-mano there. And then give me the less on AD. I think this is more of a LeBron game going up against KD. AD's kind of been up and down, so if he has one of his off nights, he'll definitely be less on the points there. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. And don't take my word for it. Celebrities like rapper Meek Mill, comedian Andrew Schultz, they play PrizePicks as well. So join them. They're doing it on a daily basis. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Deposit match up to $100 with code CLNS. Let's talk about the Utah Jazz now as a potential trade partner, as they've kind of fallen back to earth this season. Remember last year, no one expected them to do anything after they traded Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, and then they were one of the surprise teams of the NBA with how competitive they were. Well, I kind of thought this year they'd be a playoff team, and that does not appear to be the case. Currently 12th, which, again, with the play-in tournament, you only got to get to 10th, so it's not like there's no chance, but I thought they'd take a step forward. Looks like they've taken a step back. They don't have as many attractive pieces. Like, I like Lauri Markkanen. I like Kelly Olynyk. Maybe Olynyk as a backup big makes sense, but where does Markkanen fit? I don't think you could play him and AD next to each other that much, so I don't think that works. I mean, I like Jordan Clarkson, but are you bringing him back to LA? I'm not sure. And I don't think Markkanen's going to hit the market. Like, I know Utah might sell, but he's like their cornerstone player right now, so who's very young, by the way, so I don't think he's going anywhere. But I think Kelly Olynyk is like a role player type, could be interesting because he's a stretch big. He can play the 4 or 5. He can roll. He can pop. Shooting very well from three-point range this year. And as a role player, he would fit in well. Now, what would that mean for a guy like Christian Wood and some of these other rotation forwards and bigs? I'm not sure. But Olynyk is a reliable role player, and I think bringing him in for, not having to give probably that much up for him could make a lot of sense for this basketball team. We're covering the Lakers all year round, and if you want more content, we need more subscribers. We recently crossed 52,000. Appreciate all of you. Trying to get to 53,000 subs as soon as possible. So if you want more on the purple and gold, hit that subscribe button. Let's go to the Nets now, who I think are the most intriguing team on this list because they have so many depth pieces. And kind of like Utah, who I mentioned for the West, is a disappointment. I would say Brooklyn's a disappointment early on in the East. Now, remember, we're right at a quarter of the way through the season, not even, just under 20% of the way or 25% of the way through. So, there's still time for these teams, but they're currently 9th. They've been a team that seems to be always active at the trade deadline. Brooklyn does, whether they're buying or selling, and they have a lot of good players. Mikal Bridges is a good young star. Dorian Finney-Smith, good role player. Spencer Dinwiddie, a guard who can really score. I like him better than D'Angelo Russell, if I'm being completely honest. Nick Claxton, one of the most underrated centers in the NBA. I'm a big fan of his. And if you want to play AD at the 4 more, I think that could be an interesting one. Bridges obviously would be the home run, right? Do you have enough ammunition to get him without moving LeBron or AD, which you obviously wouldn't do? That's the question. Finney-Smith, he's plug and play anywhere, 3 and D. He can play the 3, he can play the 4. He occasionally can play some small ball 5 as well. Bridges is going to cost a lot, though, man. I mean, he's their most valuable asset in Brooklyn right now. 23-point scorer. He can shoot the ball at all 3 levels. 3-point shot's a little down this year, but he's very capable from out there, and that number would definitely be up if he's playing next to LeBron and AD. I'm a big fan of his. Good defender as well. I just don't know if Los Angeles has enough juice in terms of assets to go get a player of his caliber. Now, do you guys think the Lakers and the Nets should do a deal? Be Howie Mandel. You guys watch Deal or No Deal? Come on. If you didn't, Game Show Network, baby. They're running reruns all the time. Type D for deal, ND for no deal. I'd make a deal with Brooklyn. They got some good pieces. All right, let's talk about Charlotte here, then we'll get out of here. 12th in the East right now. Franchise that's just kind of in shambles, if we're being honest. Michael Jordan's kind of on his way out, or trying to get out of there with all that going on. Gordon Hayward, okay. Miles Bridges, I don't think you're trading for him for reasons that you can Google. Nick Richards, Cody Martin. I like Richards as like a backup big type, but none of these pieces really move me. If you could get Richards for like a second, I'd probably do that. Second and a salary matcher, but I have no interest in Gordon Hayward's contract. I'm not bringing in Miles Bridges. So I think if I'm LA, that's the team I'm least interested in. And like I mentioned earlier, I think the Chicago Bulls could be another team. Even if you're not in on Zach LaVine, could you bring back an Alex Caruso? Could you get an Andre Drummond as a backup center? I think they've got some pieces worth exploring. The point is the Lakers will have options out there. Just don't know if Charlotte's a team that makes a ton of sense. Now name someone that you want the Lakers to trade for. Any player you want. Let's hear it down in the comment section below. I don't think they're getting a big-time star. I think you'll see something similar to the last trade deadline where they added 2 or 3 impactful rotation pieces. I think they'll do something like that. So if you have a name that comes to mind, let us know who that is. All right, we appreciate everybody for tuning in to the Lakers Report. Again, if you want more videos, hit that sub button. Share the link below with a friend. It's youtube.com/@LakersTV. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys soon here on the show.